Do you dismiss sugar in the diet as only a concern for pre-diabetics and or diabetics? Do you rejoice in the fact that you have not been diagnosed with diabetes? It does not run in your family? And do you sometimes think to yourself, well, I hope I never become diabetic because I can't live without sugar? Well, if you've answered yes to those questions, you're going to want to listen to this video, because there are 3 distinct disadvantages of excess sugar in the diet, which everybody should be concerned about, not just pre-diabetics, not just diabetics. So listen up to this video to learn more. For those of you watching me for the first time, I'm Dr. Amina, Goodwin, a physician and a health coach, and I help overweight people with blood sugar problems fix those problems without needing more medicines. All right, sugar in the diet. Why should you even care about this? You're not diabetic. Well, that is what I thought. In fact, I remember specifically telling my mother as a young teenager that I hope I never become diabetic because I can't live without sugar. And at the time I thought, oh, you know, only people with diabetes should restrict sugar, should monitor the amount of sugar in their diet, and I will never have anything to worry about because it's not in my family and I'm not even overweight anyway. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth, because excess sugar in the diet will affect any and everything, and we don't have to have the obvious symptoms, but it's for all of us to monitor and control the amount of sugar in our diet. Right now, I'm going to tell you the 3 distinct disadvantages of excess sugar in the diet, and then I will talk about quickly at the end how much sugar you should aim to have in your diet. Right, what are these disadvantages? The first one is that sugar just makes you consume too many calories, period. So barring anything else, just having lots of sugar in the diet, you're going to just eat more. And somebody's talked about a little test they did on their children, where they tested them with 2 bowls of cereal, Fruit Loops. All right, and there were 2 bowls of Fruit Loops. One bowl had sugar added to the milk, and then they put the Fruit Loops, and then the other bowl just had the Fruit Loops, which are already sweet, and the milk. And the child ate more, much more of the cereal. They wanted seconds, and they ate more of the cereal overall when it was put in sweetened milk compared to when the Fruit Loops were put in milk that had no added sugar. So that's a simple test, but it has been proven more and more that simply having more sugar in your meals and your drinks makes you consume more. What could be the reason for that? Well, one of them is that when you have a lot of sugar, it causes a really drastic spike in the blood glucose levels, and that drastic spike is followed very quickly by a drastic spike in insulin levels, because the body always wants blood sugar or blood glucose to be normal, stable, and so it will do whatever it can or whatever it needs to do to get that level back down normal. But if your spike was very drastic, chances are there is going to be an overcompensation for that drastic spike, and rather than coming back down to normal, it's actually going to come down a little low. That low that is in the blood is detected as hunger, sometimes even jitteriness, depending on how abruptly it happened, and so you are going to be stimulated to eat more. It's just a natural way of the body, natural physiology, natural biology. It's natural for you then after that dip to want to eat more. Right, there are other things about sugar and what it does to your appetite, and even other types of sugar, especially things like high fructose corn syrup as a sweetener, which generally diminishes your ability to feel satisfied. It actually makes you want to eat more. So simply having lots of sugar or extra sugar in your diet is going to cause you to eat more. And what happens when you consume more calories overall is that you're just going to end up gaining weight, becoming overweight or obese. Overweight and obesity, these are not just simply cosmetic problems, but now more than ever, everybody's realizing that these are health problems. These are problems associated with poor health and not simply cosmetic problems, right? So it causes you, extra sugar in your diet causes you to consume more calories in general. The second disadvantage of sugar is that it takes the place of more nutritious food. So sugar is empty calories. So when we say empty calories, sugar comes with no nutrients, right? It's one of the only foods. Well, the other one is actually alcohol. So sugar and alcohol have a lot of similarities, and one of them is that these 2 nutrients, you get energy from them. Every gram of sugar gives you about 4 calories. Every gram of alcohol gives you about 7 calories. So you get calories or energy from these foods with 0 nutrients, no vitamins, no minerals, no other kind of nutrient, compared to if you're having protein and fat and, you know, other like carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates that do have minerals, vitamins, and of course fiber. All right, so sugar essentially takes the place of nutritious foods. You're going to get energy, yes, so you're going to be satisfied temporarily, but because you're not having nutrients, actual nutrients to keep you the vital functions of the body going, you're always going, the energy is going to wear off, and then you're always going to be chasing, you're always going to have that lingering hunger as your body's still trying to get you to eat so that you can get the actual nutrients that it needs. And so you find yourself chasing the nutrients with each meal, with each snack, your body trying to get those nutrients, but it's still just getting only energy because you're giving it mostly sugar, right? So sugar takes up the place of more nutritious foods. And so in general, you know, you get the energy and you're consuming less vegetables, less meat, less fruit with its beneficial vitamins and fiber, right? And just mostly sugar, okay? And then the third distinct disadvantage of sugar is that it leads to disease. So yes, in the beginning I mentioned diabetes, pre-diabetes as diseases, but those are not the only diseases. Blood sugar disorders, diabetes, pre-diabetes, that's not the only disease that arises from excess sugar. Again, more and more we're learning about all the other diseases that arise from excess sugar. Dental caries are an obvious one, rotten teeth basically, and poor dental health is well known to be associated with poor overall health in the body. There's more inflammation in the body in general when the dental hygiene is poor. Inflamed gums cause bacteria to seep into the bloodstream, and the bacteria can get all over the body and affect our joints. People can get infections of the heart valves, infections of the joints, infections of the spine, just because of poor hygiene in the mouth, okay? So dental caries or dental decay is one of the medical or health problems related to excess sugar. Heart disease, coronary artery disease, basically heart disease arises because of inflammation of the blood vessels supplying the heart. When blood vessels get inflamed, the tendency is for the body to send blood cells to those inflamed areas as a protection. It's inflamed, it's irritated, so blood cells rush to the area to try to patch it and smooth it over and protect it. And then you have more and more blood cells, more and more, you know, plaques, cholesterol, fat plaques going to that area to try to smooth it over and protect it. But then these plaques can grow and eventually block the vessel, and that's when you have heart attacks forming, because the heart muscle now no longer is able to get the blood it needs to supply it, and then it dies and you get pain, and then you have problems, heart failure and so on down the road, right? Fatty liver, yet another condition we know very well is associated with excess sugar in the diet, right? It's one of the diseases of sugar. Before, fatty liver was alcohol, but we just talked about the similarities between alcohol and sugar, right? Empty calories, only energy, no nutrients, and all these calories get stored in the fat as liver. So it happens with sugar just like it does with alcohol, right? And then the other conditions, gout, there's dementia, which now is being termed as type 3 diabetes, highly associated with excess sugar because of the same issue with inflammation. And just like we described for heart attacks, you have the same things in the brain with, essentially it's a brain attack, but you might not get a massive stroke, but the tiny vulnerable blood vessels in the brain all gradually get damaged, inflamed, damaged, and dementia happens when, the vascular dementia happens when all these tiny blood vessels get little blockages here and there, and you lose tiny amounts of brain tissue, which over time accumulate and can cause dementia, okay? So 3 distinct disadvantages of excess sugar in the diet. Sugar is a problem for all of us. I described my worries about sugar, right? And it really is for all of us to be concerned and aware of the amount of sugar that we're taking in our diet. Ideally, the recommendation by the WHO, World Health Organization, is for no more than 6 teaspoons of added sugar in a 24-hour period, right? 6 teaspoons is equal to 24 grams because every 1 teaspoon of sugar is equal to 4 grams. And that comes in handy if a lot of your food is packaged processed foods in the supermarket, because you can flip the label and look and see. It always has, it's a rule now for there to be a list underneath total carbs of added sugar, and you can keep a running tally in your mind or in a book or whatever of your added sugar intake as the day progresses. How much is in your juices, how much is in the coffee, how much is in your yogurt, your snack bars, and keep a running tally. And that amount should be no more than 24 grams or 6 teaspoons in a 24-hour period. We can think of teaspoons if we are the ones adding sugar to our foods. If we're, you know, fortunate enough to be able to prepare most of the foods that we are eating and drink at home, then you keep an eye on how much teaspoons you're adding to your sugar, to your coffee or your drinks or whatever. And it should be no more than 24 grams or 6 teaspoons per 24-hour period, right? Quickly, the 3 distinct disadvantages of sugar are that 1, it urges us to take in too many calories, which can lead to weight gain, obesity. 2, it takes up the space of more nutritious foods, so that in the long run you end up eating less protein, less vegetables, and so on. And then 3, sugar in excess leads to disease, not just diabetes, but dental cavities and inflammation in the mouth, heart disease, fatty liver, dementia. I hope you all found this video helpful, and if you did and there's somebody who you know might want to be aware of the dangers of sugar, please do share this video with them, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.